Hello viewers, hope all are fine. So today we will discuss the last class of your unit 1 of AECC1 Environment Study and Disaster Management. Okay. So till the date we have already completed 12 lecturers regarding the different aspects of environment as per your syllabus of AECC1 Environment Study and Disaster Management for B.SC, BCom and BA students of every state and every college. Okay. So the last class is on Wildlife Conservation Act that was enacted in the year 1972. Okay. This is Dr. Sudhamay Behura. I welcome you all to my lecture on Wildlife Conservation Act 1972. So it will help you for appearing in the competitive exams also. So there are some fundamental things regarding the wildlife and the sections and the provisions in this act about the punishment or penalties. Okay, everything is here and we will discuss. So you know wildlife means what? So first when we will discuss about wildlife act means we have to understand the fundamental thing regarding wildlife. What do we mean by wildlife? So as this name indicates, wild and life. Okay. So it can be defined as the various fauna and flora. So fauna means fauna means all the animals and flora means all the plants of a particular region, and when we will collectively term this fauna and flora as wildlife. Okay. In other words, non-domesticated animals. So I told you that collectively all fauna and flora. So here question comes whether your human being, we are a part of fauna, and goats, all they will come under wildlife? No. So another term is there, that non-domesticated animals means we cannot keep them in our home. They cannot be kept as domesticated or pet in our home. So non-domesticated animals, all plants and other organisms which are present in such wild areas are also called as wildlife. Okay. So the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act passed by the Parliament of India on August 21, 1972, and later implemented on 9th September 1972. Here two questions are there, short questions. Okay. So when this act was passed in the Parliament, the answer is on August 21, 1972. Another important short question is when it was implemented. So it was implemented in the next month, means 9th September 1972. Okay. So this act was enacted for the protection of plants, birds and animal species. The Wildlife Protection Act is an umbrella act to protect wild animals and plants. Before this act was enacted, there were very few national parks, and this act includes provisions for protection of plants and animals, hunting, harvesting and various other ancillary matters connected thereto. Okay. And total Wildlife Protection Act has 6 schedules. Okay. Which extends to all over India. So this act has total 6 schedules and it extends all over India. Under this act, various kinds of penalties are also laid down for the violation of the laws contained therein, and this act contains total 66 sections and under 6 schedules. Okay. So how many sections are there and how many schedules are there in this act? So this act contains total 6 schedules and 66 sections. So wildlife is an important part of the environment, as you know, for the balancing of ecosystem and for the sustenance of the nature, then we can say for the flow of energy, any kind of ecological function or structure, wildlife is an important part of the environment. Okay, so this includes trees, birds, animals, everything. However, people in the process of growth and development also for self-interest cause a lot of damage to the forest and wildlife. So wildlife is a gift from nature, isn't it? So this is a nature's gift to us, and its fall has a negative impact on the environment. So it is urgently needed to protect wildlife. So what are the objectives of the Wildlife Protection Act? So the main objectives of this act is to safeguard and develop environment, then to carry out the conclusions reached on the 1972 United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in Stockholm, then to punish anyone who harms the environment, then enforcing environmental regulations in locations not covered by existing legislation, and to give the central government complete authority to enact severe environmental protection measures. And another and important objective of this act is to ensure the protection of wildlife, birds and plants. Okay. So, what are the constitutional provisions of for wildlife? Means for the protection of wildlife, what provisions are there in our constitutions? So, the 42nd Amendment Act in the year 1976, forest and protection of wild animals and birds was transferred from state to concurrent list. Okay. And Article 51AG and Article 48A. These two articles is already discussed in the first class of environmental law, that these two articles of our constitution deals with the protection of our environment and wild animals. Okay, which says that Article 51AG of the constitution states that it shall be the fundamental duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest and wildlife. Okay, and Article 48A in the Directive Principles of State Policy mandates that the state shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. So, Wildlife Protection Act was enacted for the protection of plants and animal species, as you know. It extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So, in the Jammu Kashmir, this act is not valid. Prior to this legislation, India had only 5 designated national parks. Okay, we have different areas declared as national park. So, prior to this act, means prior to 1972, in our country there are only 5 designated national parks. Part 4 of the Indian Constitution contains the Directive Principle of State Policy. Okay, and it contains Article 36 to 51. These are described as the novel features of Indian Constitution. And Article 48A of the Indian Constitution states that the state shall try hard to achieve a clean environment, protect and improve the environment, and safeguard the wildlife and forest of the country. Okay, and Part 4A of the Constitution contains the fundamental duties of a citizen. Okay, and it states that it is the duty of every citizen to protect the natural resources like lakes, rivers and also the wildlife. It also says that every citizen should have compassion for living creatures. Okay, are you getting my point or not? Okay, so some wildlife sanctuaries, those are popular in India, are you may have heard in your schooling that Corbett National Park, Jim Corbett, it is known as Jim Corbett, which is situated in Uttarakhand. Then Ranthambore National Park, Rajasthan, Bandipur National Park, Karnataka, Keoladio Ghana National Park, Rajasthan. Okay, Nagarhole National Park, Karnataka, Sariska National Park, Rajasthan, and Kaziranga National Park, Assam. Okay, so these are different national parks or wildlife sanctuaries in different parts of India. So, one of the main objective of this act is to prohibit the hunting of wild animals, various species of birds. It lays down various punishments for the violation of rules and regulations to have proper control over the activities of human beings. Okay, and various schedules contained under this act give absolute protection to some endangered species so that they can be protected. So what do you mean by endangered species? Means there is one organization known as IUCN, means International Union of Conservation of Nature. This organization have categorized different species into endangered, threatened, vulnerable, extinct, okay, like this. So endangered species means the number of species, those are very less in number, means they are getting depleted day by day. So if some care will not be taken for their conservation, then after few years they may be extinct or vanished from our earth surface. Okay, so these are the main objectives of this act. Okay, so this act contains 66 sections which are further divided into 7 chapters and 6 schedules. As I told you that this act contains total 6 schedules and 7 chapters and 66 sections. At least remember all these important things for your short questions. Okay. So before this act was passed, it was in the state list, and so the state passed a law for wildlife protection and conservation. The Parliament passed this act using the provisions of Article 252 of the Indian Constitution. So my dear students, you have to remember these things: how many sections, how many chapters, how many schedules, and under which article of the Parliament this act has the provisions. Okay, so this act is the first legislation which gives such a comprehensive list of endangered wildlife species and which prohibited hunting of wild animals for the protection of the wildlife. Okay, so the provisions of this act is applicable to various states and regions, namely, as you know, our states and other regions or your union territories like Andaman, Nicobar, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, okay, Odisha, Mizoram, Manipur. So I am not naming all the states. You all know these things. Okay. So authorities appointed under this act. Let us discuss. So the central government appoints the Director of Wildlife Preservation and assistant directors and other officers subordinate to the director. Then the state government appoint a chief wildlife warden who heads the wildlife wing of the department and exercise complete administrative control over protected areas within a state. Okay, protected areas means the areas those are declared as protected areas by the state government. Okay, so the state government are also entitled to appoint wildlife wardens in each district. These are some authorities appointed under the act. Okay, so this act has the provision to appoint these authorities in every district or to take care of the protected areas like this. So salient features of the act, let us discuss, which is very much important. So prohibition of hunting. It prohibits the hunting of any wild animal specified in Schedule 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the act. How many schedules? So total, there are total how many schedules? 6 schedules. So out of these, Schedule 1, 2, 3 and 4 tells about the prohibition of hunting. Then what are the exceptions? A wild animal listed under these schedules can be hunted or killed only after getting permission from the chief wildlife warden of the state. Okay, so hunting is totally prohibited, but under some circumstances, by the permission of chief wildlife warden of the state, the hunting can be allowed. Okay, under certain cases, like it becomes dangerous to human life. If the wild animal becomes dangerous to human life, then with the permission of chief wildlife warden, someone may kill the animal. Okay, then it is disabled or suffering from a disease that is beyond recovery. If the disease is not cured and the animal is suffered a lot, then also by the permission it can be hunted or it can be killed. Then declaration and protection of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. So the central government can constitute any area as a sanctuary provided the area is of adequate ecological, floral, geomorphological, natural or zoological significance. Okay, and the government can also declare an area as a national park, and a collector is appointed by the central government to administer the area declared as a sanctuary. Okay, so central government may appoint a collector to administer the area declared as a sanctuary. Then constitution of various bodies. The Wildlife Protection Act provides for the constitution of bodies to be established under this act, such as the National and State Board for Wildlife, Central Zoo Authority and National Tiger Conservation Authority. Then government property. Okay, hunted wild animal articles or meat of a wild animal and ivory imported into India and an article made from such ivory shall be considered as the property of the government. Okay, so all these are coming under the property of the government. So bodies constituted under this act, National Board for Wildlife. Okay, so let us look what are the government organizations or bodies can be constructed under this act. So first one is National Board for Wildlife. Then second is Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change will be the head. Okay, then National Board for Wildlife, as per the act, the central government of India shall constitute this. Okay, so in the act there is the provision that the central government may constitute the National Board for Wildlife. Okay, what are the work or the main function? So it serves as an apex body for the review of all wildlife related matters and for the approval of projects in and around national parks and sanctuaries. Then the National Board for Wildlife is chaired by the Prime Minister. Okay, and is responsible for promotion of conservation and development of wildlife and forests. Okay, and the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the vice chairperson of the board, and the board is advisory in nature and can only advise the government on policy making for conservation of wildlife. Okay, then let us discuss about another body, that is State Board for Wildlife. Okay, so the state government are responsible for the constitution of the State Board of Wildlife. The Chief Minister of the state is the chairperson of the board. The board advises the state government in, so these are some important questions like who is the chairperson of the State Board for Wildlife. Okay, the board advises the state government in the selection and management of areas to be declared as protected areas, then the formulation of the policy for protection and conservation of the wildlife, then any matter relating to the amendment of any schedule. Another organization is Central Zoo Authority. The Act provides for the constitution of Central Zoo Authority consists of a total 10 members, including the chairperson and a member secretary. So here another important short question that under the Act, the Central Zoo Authority is formed and how many, or it consists of total how many members? Okay, so total 10 members, including the chairperson and member secretary. So the Environment Minister is the chairperson. Another question is, who is the chairperson of Central Zoo Authority? The Environment Minister is the chairperson of the Zoo Authority. The authority provides recognition to zoos and is also tasked with regulating the zoos across the country. Okay, and it lays down guidelines and prescribes rules under which animals may be transferred among zoos, national and international. Okay, so now another, that is your National Tiger Conservation Authority. This is another organization constructed under this Act. So it was constituted in 2005. So another important question, remember that when the National Tiger Conservation Authority was constituted in 2005. Okay, and the Union Environment Minister is the chairperson of NTCA or National Tiger Conservation Authority. So question may come that who is the chairperson of NTCA? Answer is your Union Environment Minister. Okay, and who is the vice chairperson? So the State Environment Minister is the vice chairperson. Okay, then the central government on the recommendation of NTCA declares an area as a tiger reserve. So we have many tiger reserves in our country, isn't it? So these are declared by the central government with the recommendation of National Tiger Conservation Authority. Okay, so in our country there are more 50 wildlife sanctuaries designed as or designated as tiger reserves. Okay, and another organization is Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. The Act provides for the construction of Wildlife Crime Control Bureau to combat organized wildlife crime in the country. Okay, so the bureau has its headquarters in New Delhi. So another important question, that where is the headquarters of Wildlife Crime Control Bureau is located? So it is at New Delhi, and it is mandated to collect and collate intelligence related to organized wildlife crime activities and to disseminate the same to the state of apprehend the criminals. Okay, next, schedules. Now let us see what are the schedules under this Act. So I have told you that this Act has how many schedules? How many schedules? Total 6 schedules. Okay, so schedule 1, it covers endangered species that need rigorous protection, and the species are granted protection from poaching, killing, trading, and a person is liable to the harshest penalties for violation of the law under this schedule. Okay, and some of the animals granted protection under the schedule 1 are, so this is the important part, you have to remember that which animals are coming under schedule 1 of Biodiversity Conservation Act. Okay, so the black buck, Bengal tiger, clouded leopard, snow leopard, all these are coming under schedule 1 of Biodiversity Act Preservation Act. Okay, and they should be protected. Then Schedule 2, animals under this list are also accorded high protection with the prohibition of their trade. Okay, and they cannot be hunted except under threat to human life. As we have discussed earlier, that if the animals, they create harm to the human being, and sometimes they suffer from disease, then only with the prior concern or permission of the wildlife warden, they can be allowed to be hunted. So some of the animal examples, those are listed in Schedule 2 are your Bengal Hanuman langur, Himalayan black bear, Himalayan newt, then jackal, flying squirrel, giant squirrel, sperm whale, Indian cobra, king cobra. Okay, so all these are coming under your Schedule 2. Then Schedule 3 and 4. So species that are not endangered are included under Schedule 3 and 4. Okay, so Schedule 1 and 2 are most important because species those are endangered are included under that, say, Schedule 1 and 2. And Schedule 3 and 4, in this, so there are some species, those are not coming under endangered species. So this includes protected species with hunting prohibited, but the penalty for any violation is less than the penalty liable in Schedule 2 and 1. Okay, and animals protected under Schedule 3 includes examples are chital, means spotted deer, then blue sheep, hyena, nilgai, sambar, sponges. Animal protected under Schedule 4 includes flamingo. Okay, Schedule. So you have to remember the name of these animals. Those are coming under Schedule 3 and Schedule 4. Then Schedule 5, it is related to animals that are considered as vermin. Vermin means small wild animals that carry disease and destroy plants and food. These animals can be hunted. So what are the examples of these vermins? Common crow, fruit bats, rats, mice. Okay. And Schedule 6, it provides for regulation in cultivation of a specified plant and restriction its possession, sale and transportation. Okay. So the species coming under this Schedule 6 cannot be cultivated. Okay. And cannot be possessed by the people, then sale and transportation is also under regulation. So both cultivation and trade of specified plants can only be carried out with prior permission of competent authority. So if someone want to cultivate these plants and want to trade these plant products or plant, they have to take the prior permission of the competent authority. Then plants protected under Schedule 6 includes, so let us see the examples who are coming under this Schedule 6. So here is the list, that is Bedom's cycad, that is native to India. Then blue vanda means blue, it is one category of orchid. Then red vanda, it is the red orchid. Then kut means Sausuria lapa and slipper orchid, Paphiopedilum species. Then pitcher plant. Okay. So all these are coming under your Schedule 6, means there is the restriction of the cultivation of these animals or plants in your yard, home yard or in any personal plots. Okay. So these are all about your Wildlife Protection Act. Okay. My dear viewers, today our unit 1 is completed. So in my next video, I will again come with the another lecture with the first part of the unit 2. Okay. Till then, bye bye and take care. Okay. So we will meet in our next video. But my dear students, one advice to you that you all make notes from these materials, because material is in front of you in my video. So you can try to make your own note so that it will give you benefit to appear your final university examination, and so also your in your appearing the competitive examinations. Okay. So thank you all for watching my video, and if you want to watch more videos on your AECC1 and all the environmental issues, then please like, subscribe and share this videos channel. Okay. Thank you. Bye.